Welcome everybody to episode number 12 of How to Become a Sales Warrior. I am here with my co-host Ty White.
How you doing, everybody?
And we are here to take you on a journey into my book on how to become a sales warrior. We'll read from the chapters. We'll take some tidbits out, share that with everyone out there. And we have a special guest in the studio, a Mr. David Goldklang and son. So we'll get to that in a short while. Ty,
Nice.
You're a sponsor today. We're going to get you in the beginning and in the middle.
Oh, yeah. Pack Pros, man. We are the Pack Pros, New York. Brand new company, just transitioned over, rebranded to a moving pack and load, complete service for people ordering pods, people moving from place to place, whether you're long distance, whether you're just going local, or you're a company that needs some inventory moved. We're the number one stop. You can visit us at thepackpros.com, and you can always send me an email at ty@thepackpros.com, as well as give us a call at 631-626-6290. Almost forgot that new number.
Still learning the new number. I got you. So we're here to try to educate a younger generation of sales folks like yourself, try to cut off that time it takes to get from beginning sales to actually making some real money.
Yeah.
I always say it took me almost 20 years to make some real money, and way too long. And we would like to help the younger generation cut that maybe in half.
That, man. Yeah.
Try to give them some tips and pointers on how to get there quicker if they're willing and being open-minded like yourself. We're going to read from the book, and I'm going back to a chapter we spoke about a couple weeks ago, but as everything that we do, it's based on what's going on in our lives.
Yeah.
And On the Road Again is starting to really, really perk its lovely head for myself. I don't even need to read from it because, everyone stopped going on the road because of COVID. And then when people came back, they kept using the Zoom and Teams as their form of being in front of people. Mm-hmm. And the more I talk to people, the more I find that a lot of people are getting tired of it.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, people want they want the energy. The energy's not in the room on Zoom. When you're in person, the energy's there and you can really see what's going on. I mean, Zoom is great. It was great for the time being when everyone couldn't be together.
Correct.
You could still carry on. But now that the world's back open, it's, time to get back into person. Go to the trade shows, get to the networking events, and be there in person.
So this past week, I called a meeting with a new client. They used to run Firefly, which was a concert down in Delaware. Mm-hmm. It shut down because of COVID. It never came back. And then this year they decided to do the Mondegreen Festival, which in reality is just a Fish concert that lasts for 72 hours. And it's basically one song for 72 hours. They just play the same freaking notes over and over again. If you're old like me, you'd call it the 90s version of Grateful Dead. They just keep playing and playing and playing.
Well, for 3 days, you said,
For 3 days, yeah. Well, it's a whole campground thing.
Yeah.
The reason I wanted to do On the Road Again today was because of the effect that I had on these people that I knew over the phone only. So we needed to do a walkthrough with operations to make sure we could get all 30 containers where they needed to go for this event. And when I said, I'd love to come down and meet you, they were like, huh? I'm like, yeah, and I'll bring my ops guy and we'll grab dinner and we'll do all this stuff. And she didn't believe me. She thought I was, sure. Until I made my hotel reservation and said, I'll see you tomorrow. And she was like, oh,
he's
really
serious. He's coming.
He's really coming.
Yeah.
So I went down. I met in the bar beforehand with my ops guy. The two ladies, she asked if she could bring a guest, of course, and I let her come, and we went and had dinner. And if I hadn't done that, I would not have found that she's connected to Live Nation. That's a customer I've been trying to get into for 6 months and have no connection to. And every person I've called has never called me back. So, when you get beat up on cold calling, you get all frustrated and stuff. But when I was sitting there with her and I asked her for the ask, as I always say, ask for the business, right? Ask for the business.
Yeah,
Don't be afraid.
Every time.
So I already had this business and I already shared all the things that we're going to do. Then I stuck my head and said, hey, can you get me connected? Holy crap. She was like, yeah, of course. Why wouldn't I? She goes, you came down here. You're my guy. Mike is here. He's my guy. I've been looking for a pods guy for years. I've been doing this for years, and we never found the right fit with a company to get these kind of projects done. And had I not taken that trip, I would have never found that information out.
Yeah, you wouldn't have gotten that through a Zoom call, nor would she have went the extra mile to make sure she connected you because she's seen you put the extra effort in for it, you know.
So the action statement for that chapter, besides just, getting back on the road again, as I always tell you, be early.
Yeah.
Show up early. I got there at 2:00 in the afternoon for an 8:00 dinner. Be early. Yeah. Be ready.
Yeah.
I was in the hotel. I sent you a picture. I was overlooking the Dover Speedway.
Yeah. It reminded me of our Oakland trip when we were staying at the Hilton overlooking the airport. I was like, oh wow, I was jealous.
Yeah, it was kind of neat. But show up early, be ready, and have an agenda.
Yeah.
A lot of people just try to wing it, or they want to stick to their bullet points of what they're trying to sell. Mm-hmm. I had a different agenda because I knew Friday we were going to go walk the facility. Thursday night was, let's get to know you. Let's have a glass of wine. Let's talk.
Yeah.
And through the talking came the information about Live Nation and AIG Presents. That's another company under the flagship of Live Nation. So, getting back out on the road again, I already had the business. It was about cultivating a better relationship, a bigger relationship. And the one takeaway, and this was the best part, I was getting ready to leave, and I turned and I saw a whole bunch of chairs shrink wrapped. I turned to her and I said, "What are you doing with that?" She says, "Oh, we're going to ship that to our next festival."
Yeah, how are you getting it there?
LTL.
Okay.
I asked her. She said LTL, and I said, "Wouldn't it be nice if I just dropped a container here and you put all the shit into at one time, ship it at one time, have it arrive at one time, and be waiting for you, and nobody has to." You can do that. Oh my God!
Lit up.
Oh my God! It was the home run moment.
Yeah.
Because she didn't know that pods could do that, and that's the thing when you're in a business that not everyone really understands fully what your business is and what you do, and making sure they find out. And that's a $100,000 home run.
Yeah. And just by you walking by and seeing those chairs sitting there shrink wrapped.
It made me think of you.
Yeah. Wrapping all the furniture. Somebody wrapped this up.
Yeah. So, that was really, enlightening. It thrilled me. I think I called you on my ride home. It was like, I just opened up a door. Regardless of getting through to Live Nation, I opened the door for this production manager, who, by the way, introduced me to her production manager. So levels of people who were there that I got to have FaceTime with because I got back out on the road again.
And that was something you just did because you wanted to go meet them. That wasn't something you had to do.
No.
That was just, you know what, this is a relationship I'm trying to cultivate. Let me go. And they were...
It was amazing.
Out of your book. Yeah, that's awesome, man.
It was. So you're going to do...
what do we got? Networking tips for the week?
Yeah, that's for you.
So our networking tip for the week is... I like this one because step outside of your comfort zone and get uncomfortable. This is a big one for me. Mm-hmm. A lot of things I learned from you is... I tend to talk to the people who are easy to talk to. I see that when we go to these different events, you go hard on some of the people who are a little closed off, and you keep prying at them until it turns into something, and it always does, where I would have been like, I'm going to walk away from this guy. He's not really giving me the energy that I want. But that's an uncomfortable place that I've learned to live in now because it's like there's something always there. You just have to find it and crack the shell. They're not going to wear it on their chest and be like, hey, you know what? Actually, let's do business. Here's my, let's see what they're about and get through that. And I've seen you do that 2 or 3 times where I was sitting there. I'm like, why are we still talking to this guy? He's blowing us off. The auction guy. He's blowing us off. But then, you keep prying at him, and then next thing you know, there's a there, So that's an uncomfortable. And just being around people who aren't your normals, and sitting next to people who have differences in opinions, and because like I said, getting around people that are comfortable, things are not going to change.
I know I've mentioned it probably last week that I actually posted on Facebook. It was about 3 weeks ago. I went to a Saturday morning networking event. I might have mentioned this. I didn't know anyone there, not a single person.
Yeah.
Didn't know who was going to be there. Turned out one gal was there. Autumn. Autumn? Mm-hmm. Autumn was there. One person, but when I went to go in, I jumped on Facebook and I typed in, time to get uncomfortable. Yeah. I hit post. And it was, because you're just walking into a room. I don't work Saturdays. That's a big no effing way. Mm-hmm. But I decided to do it, and it connected me with some really awesome people. So, again, it paid off.
There's always a reward in being uncomfortable at the end of it,
I'll let you do this one too, man. because you know how to do this, Mr.
Mr. Conga Line.
Mr. Conga Line on the boat trip.
Be present and bring the energy. I guess I will take that one because I brought the energy in that Lake George.
You sure did.
On that boat. I led the conga line. I was one of the only guys dancing, right? That all the women were dancing. All the guys were like standing around. I was like, you know what? Let's just go. And the next thing you know, for the rest of that trip, we were like,
those guys are cool.
Yeah, we were the guys. Yeah, everyone wanted to hang out with us.
We went in for lunch the next day. Everyone's like, oh,
yeah, everybody turned their heads. They're like, yeah, they go. Those are the guys
but we really know they were looking at you.
Get at me.
It's all good. I'm the old white guy, remember?
Oh man, we had a great time though, man. That was awesome. So yeah, but bring the energy. I always see that even when we're at the booth, man. I like how, like I said, you give everybody their personal experience as they're coming by. And you know, some of the people are just there for the tchotchkes and some of the
clean
stuff.
off the table.
But at the same time, you bring the right energy and they stay and they listen. And then that lady needed a container for her mom and things like that, you know.
And to me, it's all about the ROI. Why would you go
here?
If you're not going to be all into it? If you're not going to be all geared up for the moment you're here?
There was a guy like 3 booths down. Remember, he was on his phone the whole time, just sitting there. I don't even think I seen him engage with anybody. No. I was like, why would you come all the way up here and spend the money?
His boss made him.
Yeah, that's what it seemed like. That's what it seemed like.
And you know what's so funny? My company doesn't ask me to do any of these shows.
Yeah.
I go out and find my own shows every year. Every year I get about 5 or 6 shows that I get to choose from.
But you concentrate on the ROI and you prove that to your company.
Right.
You know, like this is where I went. This is what I got from this. That way, when you want to go and venture out and do something else, they're not going to stop you. I'm like, oh no, there's something there.
We are right on time at the 12-minute mark. Look at that. What time is it?
We're getting good. It's old-fashioned time.
All
and
right.
Who we having down? I think
we have Dave Goldklang from Citizens Bank. He's a mortgage consultant. You've met him before.
Yes, I have.
We're going to find out how long I've known Dave, see if he remembers. But we're going to take a break right now. We'll be right back. There we go. We're back. We're back with episode number 12 on how to become a sales warrior. Our guest in studio is Dave Goldklang from Citizens Bank. He is a mortgage consultant, banker. Say hi, Dave.
Hey guys, how you doing? Thanks for having me.
Man. No problem. We're going to start off with a toast on our
Cheers.
Cheers to old-fashioned time.
Old-fashioned time.
Well, Ty's going to explain what old-fashioned time means to us.
So old-fashioned time is one of my favorite times because it's a representative of our friendship. We met over an old fashioned at our first networking event where we met, and we also took from it. Every week we talk about an old way to do business that still works, an old fashioned way, and a new way that still works, because that kind of is the basis of our friendship. You know, Eddie came in telling me all of the old ways, the grassroots way to get business, and I came in all this techie stuff, and we've kind of found a happy medium.
I like it.
And you know,
yeah,
so
it's definitely our bond. But normally Ty does this part of the segment, but I'm taking over because I'm letting his youth influence me. So every 11 episodes before here, and I'd show up here with my folder and my paperwork. I don't see a folder.
nothing.
I don't see any paperwork. What we do have here is an iPad that Ty bought me, so I could learn how to be more up to date, because I'm a Droid guy. Him and his friends love to mercifully make fun of me that my phone sucks and my tablet sucks and nothing connects to an iPhone or an iPad.
Can't even put you in a group chat.
Can't put me in group chats. Even my family is told, you miss out on all the group chats because you're a stupid droid. So we got a phone, got a iPad here, and last night, as I was getting ready for this meeting, I went to get a piece of paper and pen. I said, no, I'm going to make myself be uncomfortable. I'm going to go get the pad. And after spending 10 minutes trying to find Word, which I never found, my wife came over and said, notes. And away I went, and I typed up everything that I wanted to for this interview here. And I thought I emailed it to you, which I thought I was very
Still working on that
We'll
part.
work on that. But again, I'm used to paper and pen. And I decided again, step out of my comfort zone, join the real world, start doing an iPod, iPad, all that shit.
So it's funny because speaking about iPod, when your mom called,
Cool.
your mom says she works for iPods.
Yeah, my mom does. She does all the time, man. It's crazy.
The next big step is you could just speak it to the iPad. You don't even have to type out.
Yeah,
You just talk, hit the microphone button.
We're gonna work on that. You're gonna teach me those things.
Give me more things, more tutorials.
Thank you. More tutorials. That is correct. So, and again, learning from Ty is an eye opener. He's half my age, but he has things that come to him more naturally than it does us older guys, and he takes the time to explain it to me, which is half a battle. When you don't have someone to explain it to you, you don't do things. But I appreciate you teaching me these new technologies and the way to do things, as I hope your kids are doing
Cheers,
for you.
boys. I would be stuck without my kids.
Are they teaching you?
And technology, absolutely. I'm going to learn Canva later today.
Canva's great. Canva's great, man.
What's Canva?
You could do flyers, you could do any type of video editing, posts, make social media posts. It's like an art studio where you could just build anything.
Someplace I'll never go.
Yeah, I mean,
I know that.
You still have to have like somewhat of a mind to kind of design things, but
That's
it kind
why you
of
have teenage children.
but it kind of it lays it out pretty easy for you, man. Canva's awesome.
We're gonna get Dave into things with us, so we're gonna talk about big win and or best new connection of the week. And I always like to go first on that. So the big win was first in-person meetup with that client, where it was really important that I did it. There was going to be some reward for doing it, and meeting Molly and Kelly and Stacy the night before, have a couple of cocktails, all of a sudden name to a face, and they're my people now that I could reach out to and say, hey, can you do a little more for me? So being able to put myself in a position for people to like me to grow my business. So that's my best big win and best new connection. What do you got this week?
My big win is I'm happy that we're on Wednesday going to be able to take care of Times Square Alliance. That finally fell through. Doing 3 containers. How many boxes are they sending?
680 boxes. 80 water bottle boxes and 600 yoga mat boxes.
I built a really good relationship with Gary from Times Square Alliance, and there was some insurance things going on with the requirements for the job, and we ended up fixing it, and now we're going to be able to do that, and I'm happy because I like Gary, and he's a really good friend of yours.
He is.
And we're going to be able to take care of him on Wednesday.
What about you, Dave? Best new connection? Best win of the week?
So this week, like everybody, I'm in a competitive industry.
Yeah.
So I'm a big believer in everybody can play nice in the sandbox. There's enough business out there for everybody. So I am very friendly with my competition. I am, not everybody fits into not every peg fits into a square hole. So somebody that I've been friendly with for a little bit had a couple issues. He sent me some really impressive clients. And I'm taking care of those customers. Something that he couldn't get done that I could. So instead of him going down with the ship, he was smart enough to just pass it on to somebody else.
Yeah, you got to know when that's, because at the end of the day, you're still taking care of those clients.
Right.
They're still going to look at you like the person
Still his client.
Still, you know what I mean? So you got to be Mr. Fix-It.
So I've won business on lost business. So there were jobs that I didn't fit into, that Ty's company did fit into, and I directed them to him, and he did such a bang-up job, they referred me more business. So, that's a nice thing when someone does that for you.
I have a lot of that. So you got to give to get to. And if I have an issue, I don't want one of my clients going down with the ship. So I'm going to pass them on to somebody I know who could get it done. You want to know, knowledge is power, right? So you want to know everybody's kind of guidelines, even your competition, what people can do and what they can't.
Any best new connections?
So I made a couple of great connections last week. At the end of last week, I sponsored a new construction open house building for a high rise in New York City.
Nice.
And met some really high end New York City real estate agents, attorneys. So it was a very beneficial event for me.
So I love hearing that, because you definitely stepped outside. I heard you at the networking meeting. You stepped outside your comfort zone, which is playing in Long Island. You went to the big bad city that no one wants to go to, and you made yourself valuable.
I mean, I used to be in the city every day.
Long time ago, brother.
A long time ago. And I really have barely been to the city since COVID. So yeah, it was a big move for me. I didn't really want to do it. I didn't know much of the people. And I'm like, why not? My whole thing is one deal, right? If I could get one deal out of it,
Yeah.
one relationship out of it, it paid for itself, and it's worth it. Is the juice worth the squeeze? And that's one
I
deal.
like
It's
that.
worth it.
So you and I, because we're in the same vertical of moving, why don't we gather a couple of those phone numbers and host a lunch in the city?
You had said that, and I'm down.
Because there's a place, I can't remember the name. There's a nice place I go to on 45th Street that you went with me there, the Playwright or something. It's a very cool bar, but we should definitely put that on the calendar for something in August, especially if they play in New York City. Let's just do a lunch, come have some cocktails, some appetizers, and
And you always
lunches
got
on
the
us.
landing too.
A little expensive. I saved that for my bosses. Best new business decision of the week. I'll let you go first.
Best new business decision. I would have to say upgrading all my technology and stuff. New phones, new iPads, new emails. I'm separating my personal and my business. Finally, I had everything running through one phone for so long, and it was just
Oh, just the one phone. So now you have two phones, a business and a personal.
Yeah, right. and completely separated it. Not even giving my business number out to, that's just for business. So that was a really good decision for me. And now I like that my personal phone is just personal, family, and things like that. So it's not all running in together.
For me, best decision was going to Delaware. Leaving, being away from home, it's part of the job.
Yeah.
But I chalk it up there as one of the smartest moves I've made in a long time. And I have another smart one coming up this week. I'm hosting a semi-pro baseball game up in Bristol, Connecticut at Muzzy Field. Scholastic kids who are going to college. It's summer ball for them. We have a Paz plaque on the left field fence.
Oh, yeah.
I host a tailgate party, and I got 20 of my coworkers coming for a game and some free food. And
Okay.
2 years ago, I threw out the first pitch right down the middle. Very proud.
I'd like to see that.
I have it on tape. My boss was down the
middle,
there's an
right.
end to this story.
Right.
My boss had it on tape. He deleted it because I did it. Last year I went and I 3-bounced it. And I was like,
That one's on video.
That one wasn't on video, but it was the worst I've ever felt on a baseball field. And I'm like, I'm not doing it. I'm getting one of the young studs to do it this year. Screw that.
Did you have shoulder surgery too?
I did. Yeah, okay. That's why I
was trying to help him.
I appreciate that.
That's why
No, that wasn't the reason I bounced it. It was all on me. I'm old and I couldn't rear back and get that 40-mile-an-hour pitch. What about you, Dave? Best business decision of the week?
So I'm going to start this. I paid for Canva. I bought it. I'm starting to, again, I'm like you. I'm old school. I'm all about networking and in person and face to face. So I am going to invest a little bit of time, money, and energy into this online presence and getting some things out there.
Yeah.
And it's funny, what somebody else told me and I loved is with the whole Zoom world and talking, and nobody talks to you anymore. I deal with a lot of young first-time home buyers. Everything's a text or call. So I've been trying to FaceTime people, and they don't know how to handle it. They don't know how to react, right? So here's a stranger. But I feel if you could just, in-person connect is so much better. So even if it's just a FaceTime phone call for 30 seconds, if they do it one time, at least they get to see your face, and it's a touch. It's another.
Yeah, it's a real
it's
touch.
almost like it's a real touch as opposed to just text messaging me, at a random hour.
I'm going to tell you this. I found I belong to this Alignable. You know what Alignable is? Online networking group.
It's like a LinkedIn sort of
Sure,
thing,
just
right?
like that. It is. Anywho, I found the relocation company. Sent her a hello. She sent me a hello back. I gave her my email. I said, email me. I'd like to schedule a meeting. She emailed me. And then I said, can we get on a Teams call? Now, I don't waste my time getting on a Teams call to keep my camera off. I want my camera on. I want their camera on. She was relieved. She's like, absolutely. And we jumped on a Teams call, spent 35 minutes on there going over what I do, and then 35 minutes of her grilling me. She's a relocation company. She's got plenty of tractor trailers, plenty of small trucks. What she doesn't have is bots. And it's another tool in her tool belt, which came up. And the opportunity is huge. They're a $4.2 million a year company, and I'm looking for 2% of it. 2% carries me as a fucking hero at my office, So
Good.
Yeah,
That's great.
yeah. All right, we're gonna jump into our questions. I have the first couple. Is yours on?
Yeah.
Can't see it. There you go. All right.
I was hoping you were going to email me the questions in advance.
Everyone
so I could-
has all the questions.
So one of your first jobs was a loan officer at Champion Mortgage.
Mhm.
What is that role? What is that role?
As a loan officer?
Are you in the bank? You outside the bank? What are you doing?
So in my 20s, I only worked in the restaurant industry. Champion Mortgage was my first desk job, supposed desk job, and that was a call center. So it was and the model changed. When I got there, it was a call center. Somebody would set an appointment for you. That was my first cell phone. I got a StarTech, and I got a beeper they handed me.
Ooh, a beeper.
And
How old is he?
you would go to the office, and I think the first week I had to go do the AAA, the triptych. By the second week, they had this new technology called MapQuest.
Ooh,
So the office assistant would print out the MapQuest and send me to someone's house. After a couple months, that went away, and it just started being on the phone. Like they felt it wasn't beneficial to drive to people's houses because somebody sets an appointment. They're not necessarily home. It's a waste of time. So we just went to the phone, a call center model, and it was great. And I didn't know any better. I mean, that was my first real job, and just leads would come in. They did a really deep dive training program for us. So they videotaped us.
Give you pointers.
Get your pointers, how to, rebuttals, how to talk to people, make eye contact. So it was great. I mean, I really loved the time I spent there.
Excellent.
I have a question. What are the most common misconceptions people have about mortgages, and how do you address it?
About mortgages or mortgage people? I mean, mortgages, you need it, right? A mortgage is a great tool. You can't, unless you're
Uber rich.
You can't buy a house without it. You can't, you can use the equity in your house. It's such a powerful tool to pay for your kids' college, do home improvements, do investment properties, do anything if you want to cash out, lower your monthly payment, shorten your term. I mean, it's just a tool we all need. And real estate is the biggest way to get to wealth. If you want to be a millionaire in this country, it's through real estate. And how else to do it besides leveraging what you have and using, it's good debt. So I love what I do. I mean, I really only help people, right? So I'm either putting you in a new home, bigger, better, first home, or an investment property to make money, or I'm saving you money, right? I'm refinancing you. So I'm helping you get that vacation home, helping you pay for your kids' college, putting a pool in, whatever your goals are, I can help you achieve them.
Wow.
So Dave is my mortgage broker for his old company. And it was a long process, but the gravy is 3 weeks after we closed, the rate moved and didn't stop for the next year. And when I say moved, he closed me at 2.65. The rate moved over 7.
Wow.
And all those people that were on the fence, this and that, they missed the boat.
Yeah.
No matter what I ever think about my friend Dave here, I'm grateful for his mortgage.
Look, it's a process. I mean, it's not what it was. I've been doing this for over 20 years. So yes, at one point in time, you needed a pulse and you could get a loan. And that's what brought on partially the collapse in 07, 08. So now for everything, I need pay stubs, W-2s, bank statements, credit, we have to ask questions. It's real, right? So people got to qualify. So it's a process.
He mentioned 2008. How did you survive? Now, we all know there was a collapse of the banking industry, the mortgage tanks. How did you survive?
So at the time, I was a broker. And we went public. I loved my job. I loved the place. I had a 2-year-old, a newborn, and a new house, and everything just went away overnight. How did I survive? Credit cards and a line of credit. Is really how I got through it.
That's a good answer.
And I didn't make money for 6-8 months, and I lived on credit cards and a home equity line of credit. And it took me a long time to pay it back. It took me 10 years to get back to zero.
I get that.
But it was tough. It was very tough. Borrowed against my 401k.
Ooh, that's tough.
But you know what? It took 10 years, and I paid everything back, and I got to zero. And
Good.
So can you tell me the difference between the fixed rate and adjustable rate? mortgages?
Sure.
He's never bought a house.
No.
That's his
So these are
education
things. Yeah,
card.
that's
So a fixed rate, generally there's a 30, a 20, or a 15-year. Some places have a 10-year. The 30-year is the most affordable, the most common,
But you pay back the most money.
but you pay back the most money. So my parents bought their house in the 70s, and they took a 30-year fixed mortgage, and they never refinanced, and they paid their payment and then for 30 years, and they never moved. I mean, he had the same loan, and he was all happy when he paid off the house. People now tend to move every 7 years, or they're going to refinance. And really, in the past 20 years, we've only been in a decreasing rate environment with the exception of now. So, I mean, a lot of my businesses repeat clients where I've refinanced the same people 3, 4, 5 times. So it doesn't necessarily make sense. If you had a 2.5% mortgage, yeah, take the fix, be done with it. You're never going to do better. But when the rates are 4s and 5s and 6s, people take an ARM, right? So the ARM is they're fixed for 5, 7, or 10 years. So each rate, the 7 years is going to be a little more expensive than the 7, the 10 a little more expensive than the 7. But if you know, hey, look, this is my first home. I'm going to co-op in the city in a studio. I'm not married to kids yet. I'm good to eventually move on. You take an ARM. You get a lower interest rate. And just it gives you more flexibility. The lower rate and the lower payment, it gives you more flexibility. They're harder to qualify for that reason because there is a little more risk. But most of my financial people, most of my self-employed, bonus-driven, commission-driven people take ARMs.
I'm going to change the subject completely.
Go.
Do you remember where we met?
We met at a B&I group.
There you go. What was I then?
You worked for the Islanders.
There you go.
You were ticket sales for the Islanders.
I was. B&I.
Yeah, and that was a B&I group.
Was that your first networking group?
That was.
I thought so.
So I was living in the city and working in the city. I bought the house out here in 2004. And I joined the networking group right away. And that was probably around that time. Met at a diner. I've never done anything like that before. And it was a cool experience.
It was.
What groups are you currently in?
So I am in a group with Eddie, networking for charity. Used to be in, a lot of these groups you could pay money and someone's making money. And then we've been doing this for so long. A lot of the guys in that group were in that original group. We said, look, let's just, instead of paying somebody $600 a month, we'll call it $300 a month. We'll pool the money and then we'll donate it to a charity. Nice. So we do that. I'm in another group, the Long Island Elite, which meets once a month, which is the same concept. We take our money and we donate. We pick a different charity once a year, and then we spend that year raising money for that charity. So those are my two main.
I think that's what we met. Groups.
Yes.
When Eddie brought me down, I was like,
yep.
Yes.
I got a question. What is an MLSR ID number?
That's your banking number. That's your mortgage
Yours.
license. Right.
Every mortgage guy gets one.
That's also after the Dodd-Frank. So mine's a low number. Every mortgage originator has one. We have a license. So if I switch companies, I have to file with the state of New York and the federal, and that license comes with me to the next job.
It's always your number.
It's always my number.
We got.
So what separates you from the next mortgage guy? Like what are you providing? Why should somebody choose you over the next office that's next to yours?
So there's definitely benefits and pros and cons to depending on where you work, right? Everybody has a little niche. Bank ABC, bank, DEF, broker 123. Everybody has a little niche. But to me, I think you had said it, like my industry, depending on where you are, it's shady. I think like all others, it's 100% commission industry. Top 80% of the people, top 20% of the people make 80% of the money type of world. Mm-hmm. And look, it's knowledge. Been doing it a long time. I survived through multiple downturns, and I've seen it all. There's nothing you could really throw at me that I haven't seen yet, which is helpful. And I could talk people through. A lot of people call up and say, I want X. I want a 30-year fixed mortgage. Mm-hmm. Great. Why do you want that? And I want the lowest payment possible. Well, the lowest payment possible is not with the 30-year fixed mortgage. So I get all your information. I talk to you. I dive deep and try to build a connection so I know what your ultimate goals are. Because yes, everybody wants a low rate, but really there's other ways to get there. Are you going to be in the house for 30 years? Is your goal for 5 years? You're buying a studio. So product knowledge, that product knowledge of my competition. I'm not afraid if Eddie came to me and said, hey, I need this, and for some reason he doesn't fall into my bucket, I'd be more than happy to refer Eddie to the next guy over who will take care of him.
Yeah.
And that guy will take care of my clients, and he feels comfortable to do the same. So people call me up, oh, ABC Bank offered me 5% on a 30-year fixed. I'm like, it's not possible. The whole world is at 7%. Did he lock you in? Do you have it in writing? So it's just the knowledge, you know, I say integrity, respect, commitment. I respect your time, respect mine. I have integrity. You know, I'm committed to closing this loan. I want these deals to close. Again, I only benefit people. I can help you if you allow me to help you. So I'm committed to putting you in the best possible situation.
Question. Wells Fargo is a private bank?
Wells Fargo has a private bank, and I worked in it.
So what's the difference between Wells Fargo and Citizen?
Wells Fargo is one of the largest banks in the country.
Why does it say private banking? Private. I'm losing the.
So I don't know if I could get into it. Private banking, every bank has it. Chase, Wells, B of A. It's for the higher net worth individuals.
Gotcha.
You bring, that's like relationship pricing. So if you bring money over, you build relationships with a lender, with some of these banks, they want assets. You know, whether it's business accounts, personal accounts, banks want assets. That's how they make money. And if you could bring over assets, we could do more creative things for you. And every bank offers it. Most banks offer it.
Where do you see, where's Dave Goldklang in the next 5 years? Still doing mortgages?
Yeah, I love it.
You
Yeah.
gonna ride it out?
Yeah. I don't.
It's too old to change, just like me.
It's not even that, and I've thought about it. I like what I do. I mean, I have. Look, and people. The bigger question is, people say, "Why don't you own your own place? Why don't you go on your own?"
Who needs a headache?
I don't want the headache. I don't want. And again, I've been a broker for years. I've been a manager. I've run teams of 25 guys. I like doing my own things. I have my kids. I have my life. You know, I use the same cell phone. People could call me on my cell as I don't have two different phones. It takes 2 seconds to answer the phone and talk to somebody, but I really like what I do. I like the flexibility. I can make good money. And there's no limit on me. I can make, you know, the harder I work, the more I'll make.
There's no,
And, you know, there's some downside. There's no residuals. I'm not getting, you know, but my residual is my book of business. And, you know, the same people calling me back year after year. I've done you. I've done your parents. I've done your kids. I've done the guy in the cube next to you. I've done you do a good job. You take care of people, and people talk and spread the word. Take care of them around you.
So this is a connections world. The connections run deep. You and I, you know, we go back almost 14, 15 years to that first BNI group, which was my first BNI group, by the way, as well. But our connection gets a little deeper with networking for charity. And now our freaking kids go to the same college.
Yep.
Isn't that amazing?
Small world.
And when we come in on Tuesday mornings and Danielle is there and her son's there, who happens to know your son, it's like, it's a nice connection to have that you're experiencing. It's way different experiencing what the boys are doing, what the girls are doing, but they're experiencing a lot of cool shit, which is really awesome.
Yeah. I mean, Danielle's son, you have a daughter, we had 2 boys, we try to get them together. We're stupid, we don't do that, kids don't do that anymore, we're not interested. We let it go. They went to school, they both ended up pledging the same fraternity in the same pledge class, became friends with each other, and you know, you just keep your mouth shut. Told you so. Like they're good kids. Like, but you know, they're great friends, and it's nice. It's nice to have that connection.
Awesome. Yeah. So, last question of the day: if you could have dinner with one famous person from the past, who would it be? Anyone.
Dinner with one famous person from the past.
One person from history.
One person from history.
Jeez.
Did he say Jesus?
Is that your answer?
That was not my answer, but I have no idea.
Wow. There's no one you wanted to meet? Bruce? Mick? Wow.
Mel Gibson? I don't know. I love Braveheart. You know,
All right.
I
I love Mad Max.
Right.
I go back as far as Mad Max.
Me too. Lethal Weapon, Braveheart. I mean,
All right.
he's had his ups
Well,
and
he
downs.
said Jesus and Mel Gibson, so when he did Passion of the Christ,
There you go. You hit two with one hand.
Two with
There
one
you
hand.
go.
I never saw that movie, but sure.
I didn't
see it either.
Very good. Very good. So we're in our closing statements. Why don't you tell our audience where they could find you, where they could reach you? Phone number, email address. Look at that camera over there and tell us.
So you could find me at davegoldklang.com. Just my name, davegoldklang.com. And reach out. It takes you right to my website. You could apply for applications, answer mortgage questions, whatever you need. I'm here for you.
Want to give a phone number?
917-757-4957.
And we'll put your emails and stuff in the description. That way, anybody sees the episodes, they want to call about a mortgage, they'll have your information right there.
Sounds great. And again, I'm always happy to talk. Like I said, you don't have to go with me if you're stuck. A lot of people call, hey, I'm already deep in the process with XYZ. What do you think?
But it sounds like you're willing to educate. That's,
Of course.
that's the
One of the things that I have learned is to be a good loser.
Absolutely.
Because you lost them for today. But if you leave the impression that there's still an opportunity down the road, something could come from it. And it does quite more often than not.
I get a lot of deals back that I've lost. I went to someone else for a lower rate or for whatever reason. And then the person can't deliver what they promised. And people come back. People get insulted. They get now more than ever, I feel people take it very personal. If somebody lied to you about something and they, whether it's a lie or misrepresentation, a guy just made a mistake, people get offended and they leave.
How can we reach you, Ty?
631-626-6290 and TYE@thepackpros.com. Hit me up for a nice quote. You can go on to thepackpros.com and do have a new quiz that leads you right to all the stuff that you need, whether you have a 1-bedroom, 2-bedroom, whatever, all the specs of your house. You go through the quiz, leads you right to a final form that I get, and we'll give you a call right away.
Ty, I went through that form the other day just to see what it was like from one of my pod's customers. And what I learned from it was that my company could really be a little bit more helpful in the online process with figuring out which size container they need. Because we have 3 different size containers and they're all cheaper than the other. But if they were able to click away at the questions that his website is set up at, we'd be able to give a little bit better information to the client. And that would be really, really helpful. Yeah. So I took something away from going to your website and clicking away and realizing, wow, I should turn my bosses onto it, but probably not, because they probably won't listen. So you can reach me, Eddie Pods, at 631-334-8587 or eadelman@pods.com. You can find my book on Amazon Books. It's there in Audible. This gentleman right here was the engineer on that Audible. Did a great job training me and teaching me how to speak correctly. And if you're interested in bringing us in to help train your staff, your salespeople, bring a book and share with them some of these tips that we've shared here, you can reach me at eddie@becomeasaleswarrior.com. Thank you very much, everybody, for being here today. It's been my pleasure. We will see you at episode number 13.
See you next time.
Thanks for having me,
Peace
guys.
out.
No problem, man.